Hi again. We all know that ABM is the next big thing when it comes to demand generation. However, implementing the right ABM strategy without having the right infrastructure can be a challenge. Today, there are hundreds of vendors available out there who are automating for almost every stage of the ABM journey. But how do you choose the right tech stack for your ABM strategy? During this webinar, we will help you choose the right tech stack to align with your goals. This will be a 45-minute webinar. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat box that you see on your screen, and we will take them up at the end of the webinar. The host for today's webinar is Swapnil Soni. He is a senior ABM strategist who is defining and leading the ABM program for various enterprises at the Marketers. I am happy to share that we were recognized amongst the top advertising and marketing agencies in India in 2019, top B2B companies in India 2020 by Clutch. We also won the ITSMA Marketing Excellence Gold Award in 2019 for our ABM campaign. Some of the leading companies that we work with: Thomson Reuters, TeamViewer, TechGenie, Savantis, and many more. Now over to Swapnil.
Thank you so much, Tanuj. And good evening, everyone. I am sure you're having a great time today and your day is going fine. Before we begin with the webinar, I'd just like to walk you through the agenda. Today, we'll be talking about how and what exactly ABM is and why is it important in today's B2B marketing scenario, why ABM tech is needed, and how you can determine the right technology for your organization. We'll also talk about how you can budget out for your ABM technology and then jump on to looking at some tools that are out there for ABM today before we conclude the webinar. And now, before we begin, I'd just like to ask a few questions, actually just two questions. I'd like to understand how everyone is placed with respect to ABM currently. For that, on your screens, you will see towards the right-hand side a poll section. If you can just answer that right now, that'll be really helpful. So the first question is ABM a part of your go-to-market strategy for 2020? Also, I will be posting another question over here. This is with regards to the budget that we have, that you may have for ABM. What percentage of the budget have you allocated for ABM in 2020? All right, moving on. We all keep talking about ABM, but why is it that it is such a hot topic right now in B2B marketing? If you look at serious decisions, it says that 92% of companies recognize the value in ABM, and they go as far as calling it a B2B marketing must-have. Also, 71% of B2B organizations interested in adopting ABM are testing or already using it, and this is something that Demand Matrix says. And finally, 84% of B2B marketers say that ABM delivers ROI higher than any other approach. And this is a claim that ITSMA makes. Now, ITSMA the term account-based marketing for more than 15 years now. And it is now a major strategy because there are resources and tools available for everyone to run an ABM program at scale. It is also something that is available and accessible to everyone. Of course, not that's a tool, but everyone can leverage an ABM approach because of the resources and tools that are available out there. But what exactly is ABM, if you may ask? Now, account based marketing is a go to marketing strategy that coordinates highly valuable, personalized experiences across all functions that impact the customer, such as marketing, sales development, sales, and customer success. And it is leveraged to drive engagement at targeted set of new or existing accounts. Now, if you just pick out some of the highlighted things, personalized experiences. The whole point of ABM is to focus on fewer accounts and fewer personas and target them using relevant and personalized messaging. Also, with ABM, you want your marketing and sales teams to be working together and making sure that at every stage there is very clearly defined responsibility and ownership with respect to execution. And you can not only just target new accounts, you can also leverage ABM to expand into existing accounts. You can cross sell and upsell. But what is it not? ABM is not an extension to demand generation. Also, if you're looking at volume leads, then this is not for you. The cycle of ABM is also very different and possibly much longer than that in generic outbound or any other lead gen campaign. And it is not necessary that it might fit your organization based on the industry that you operate in or the ones that you're targeting. This has a major impact on the fitment. And finally, it requires unlearning of typical marketing and sales metrics that we've been using so far and looking at qualitative engagement for ABM. And lastly, ABM is not a strategy. ABM is a strategy, not a technology. I'm sorry at that. It is not a campaign or an initiative. And of course, there are a lot of technologies that support ABM. But why do you need dedicated technology for ABM if you ask? Well, ABM along with technology delivers really high business value. We already know that ITSMA claims 84% organizations believe that it delivers a good ROI. Now, to scale ABM, you definitely need technology. Generally, a large number of touch points are involved, and to consolidate them and to have a singular view of an account is really important. To be able to identify audiences and target the right people with valuable messaging and insights, you need technology. ABM can be executed manually, but when you need to leverage data and insights, technology can be really helpful. Stressing the importance of sales and marketing alignment, tech can help the bridge. Tech can help to bridge any gaps and remove any silos that might exist between functions and teams that need to collaborate together for a successful ABM program. Also, global governance is a huge factor. With everyone aligning on what is the right KPI and what is the source of truth for performance and more, it is really valuable for organizations to have that. Also, if you look at it, your existing technology, your marketing automation platforms, and your CRMs may not be capable of uh, giving you an ABM centric view. They were designed to target leads and not accounts. So you definitely need a new technology over there. Scalability is another challenge. Now, pilots in small ABM programs can run without dedicated technology. However, when you need to reach a large number of audience, you definitely need technology backing you up out there. Also, if you want to be competitive, technology really gives you an edge out there in the market. But before jumping on ABM tech stack, how do you define your account based approach? Are you targeting, are you leveraging a one is to one approach to target a handful of accounts with highly personalized messaging? Is it something of a more segmented approach wherein you're targeting a larger number of accounts? And or finally, is it one is to many approach wherein you're targeting an even bigger number of accounts, which is highly technology dependent? You have to ask a few questions over here. What your approach is going to be? What exactly is your target market? What industries you're going after? What geographies you're operating in? And that is something that can help you define your uh, technology and your tech stack even better. But what about budgeting, right? Now, going through a Gartner study, we found that CMOs actually have set out 10.5% between 2019 and 2020 as their total marketing budget. 10.5% of total revenue is a huge amount out there for organizations that are operating in billions of dollars. Also, of this entire amount, 26% is dedicated to martech. Now, how do you set that out for ABM? Now, if you remember at the beginning, we asked what kind of budget you've allocated. I'm pretty sure you must have considered the approach that we just talked about in the previous slides. So, based on the approach that you have, you decide upon what kind of technologies that you need. And that is when you allocate the budget for ABM tech stack. Talking of MarTech, if we look at this entire landscape right now, I know this is really mind-boggling. You cannot even identify what exactly is displayed on my screen. So just to help you with that, marketing technology landscape. Now, Chief Martech over here, they've decided to put together all the different segments and all the different buckets that are out there, which are operating in the marketing technology domain, and they've put together all the logos over here. So they started back in 2017, I guess, and they called it the Martech 5000. But in April 2019, it had even crossed 7,000, but they did not even bother to change the name. Now, 7,000 tools that fit your marketing tech stack. How do you choose between them? How do you define what exactly is a good fit for your ABM, let alone your general marketing? So there are a few things that you can consider for that. MarTech adoption generally depends on product, people, process, and performance. These are the four P's as demand base defines them. Now, with respect to the product, what exactly is the value that the product is adding to your company or your marketing program? What features or solutions does it have? Is it secure? Is there a very good privacy architecture? Now, with GDPR and the Californian rules with respect to privacy, there are so many laws out there, anti-spam laws, data breach laws. Do you really want them to comply, the product to comply with all those laws? Also, what is the ROI that you will get out of it? Ask yourself these questions. Now, coming down to people, it is very important that whatever technology you bring in aligns with the objectives of the owners and stakeholders. Also, who will be the end users for that technology? Are they on board, or they would they be easily able to adopt that technology? In terms of onboarding, training, and support, what exactly does this platform provide? Is the onboarding something that'll require a lot of time and bandwidth from the people at your team? Also, in terms of training and support, is there something that is self-serve that is available online? Or is there going to be an account executive assigned to you? These are some things that you can definitely ask while talking to any new vendor. Now, management reporting and performance, that is also very important. How would you be managing it internally? What reporting capabilities does it provide you? And in terms of performance, is it cloud-based? Is it, excuse me, Is it cloud-based? Is it going to sit on your premise, or is it going to be something of a hybrid situation out there? Is the procurement process complicated? Is it going to be a difficult situation when it comes to compliance? Are they complying with all the laws that you need to comply with? The process of governance is something that is very important when it comes to organizational adoption, implementation, and integration. Now, we recently spoke to a tech platform, and in terms of implementation, they were going to take almost 4 to 6 weeks of time, which is, of course, in terms of their technology to work, it is needed, but at the same time, that was not something that aligned with our client. So we kind of had to overlook, even with the kind of capabilities that the tool had, we had to let it go. We did not have that much of time in hand. Now, integration, it is really important for your technology to speak to all the other tools that are present in your organization so that there is really smooth flow of data, training and internal adoption, and maintenance, scalability, and growth. Now you want your technology to be future proof. You don't want that right now, if you're implementing it, you don't want to be changing it in 6 months or a year when your organization has grown a lot or your data has expanded a lot. In terms of performance, again, how will you be determining the ROI? In terms of measurement, what exactly are the tools that it is providing, and so on. Also, with respect to getting started with the tech stack, there are other questions that you can ask in terms of capabilities, data attributes, the costs, what outcomes and output would it provide, and what level of ABM maturity are you at? When we look at capabilities, one of the most important things to look at is the data coming from ABM Platform. How can it be matched, and where exactly can it be sent from a legal perspective? Basically, understanding the portability of the data as well as the quality of the data is really important. For data attributes, it is important to understand how the data is being sourced and from where. Is it pixel based or is it a CRM based solution? Do you really want to make sure that it is legally compliant in every region that you're operating? Especially when it comes to Europe these days, data breaches can be really, really harmful for your organization. So you want to make sure that that is not a scenario that is happening. Also, another thing which is important to know is the freshness of data. If the tool is something that is pixel based, it is important to know what is the frequency with which the pixels are being refreshed. If it is happening in 6 months, then definitely you may need another solution. You want your data to be really fresh and ready to go. With respect to outcomes and output, you should be focusing on how the data can connect to your CRM systems and the rest of your martech stack, as we mentioned earlier. The information that is being driven to your orchestration layer and then further to your analytics solution is very much important. How you're able to measure everything at the end of the day. It is important to look at those factors as well. Now, coming down to the account-based technology stack framework, Topo has taken and defined the major technologies that we need. They've taken up some buckets and put them into these 6 buckets: marketing engagement, SDR sales engagement, content, measurement data, and infrastructure. As well as this looks, we'll go with a slightly different version of what Engagio defines it as. Now, Engagio has been working on, Engagio is a great ABM platform, by the way, and they've been working on ABM for quite a long time now. And this is their way of looking at the entire ABM tech stack. However, for you, it can entirely differ. For you, it can be something very much specific to your organization, and it might not align with that. So that is why important that you do your own research. But yeah, right now, this is something that we will keep as the base going forward. Now, they have defined, again, five buckets with respect to data, with respect to technology, I'm sorry. And we'll just look at each bucket separately and see how that fits into the entire ABM tech stack. The very first thing that we want to look at is the foundation stack out there. You might already have a CRM and a marketing automation technology in place. I'm pretty sure you work with Salesforce or HubSpot or SAP or something similar. But these technologies, as we had mentioned earlier, have a very lead-based approach to the entire marketing. They do not look at accounts cohesively. However, when it comes to account-based marketing, you need a holistic view of multiple channels and campaigns from an account perspective. So, what you really need over here is lead to engagement, lead to account matching, and lead to account routing. So that whatever leads are coming in, they are actually matched to the respective accounts, and you can have a singular view of everything at once. Now, Engagio, Salesforce, and Lean Data are some technologies that can help you with that lead to account matching. I'm pretty sure there are more out there, and this is a good place to start. Also, something that is very, very important with respect to your ABM tech stack is data and insights. Before you even begin with your ABM, you need to define certain account target lists. When you've already defined your ICP, you go after targeting what kind of, you go after fetching those accounts that match that ICP, and you need a technology for that. You might have some firmographic set in place in terms of, say, revenue, that you need a certain revenue level, or the organization that you want to target has to have a certain number of people working for it, maybe 500, maybe 100. And that is how you go after it. Also, another thing that you might want to target is technology. What tech stack do they already have? So, you want to go after companies that are operating on SAP ERP. So that is something that you might want to know in advance. Also, another thing that is very, very hot right now is intent data. Now, intent data is something that is of two levels: first party intent data and third party intent data. First party intent data is something that is, in our opinion, very much important to have. And how you, what exactly is it? There are a lot of vendors out there that might just claim that, first party intent data, they're providing you web interactions that are happening on your website, the organizations that are visiting your website, and that's it. But however, there is more to it. There are organizations that are visiting other digital assets of your company, and knowing what exactly is happening at that level can be really helpful. Also, contact level data. Once you have defined your account, uh, target accounts that you want to go after, you want to refine the contacts that you already have or fetch new contacts that you want to target. And organizations such as Discoverorg, ZoomInfo can be really helpful over here. Dun& Bradstreet also was doing something. Synthio, I remember, Synthio helps you refine the contact database that you already have. They operate on some, I'm not really sure of that number, but then they have almost 50 to 60 or even more than that attributes to a single contact, and they might just add on to your database over here. Also, these are some things that we think are really important. In addition to this, you can fetch intent data from third parties. Bombora and Madison Logic have been doing great work in that direction. Even Tech Target and Sixth Sense are leveraging those things. Third party intent data, if you may ask, is basically topical data of web interactions that are happening all over the place. Now, there are companies searching for account based marketing, and that is something that may be important for us right now. So, we might want to know which companies those are. And Bombora can help us narrow down on that list of companies. Also, predictive data is something which is very much on hype. Say you have already built out your ICP and you want to know what all companies align to that. One thing is going after an exact match. Another thing is uh, entering your existing accounts or the target list that comes out of your account data technologies, and looking at lookalikes that may not be an exact fit, but can also be interested in your technology and in your services out there. Insights into accounts. Now, as we go forward in your entire ABM journey, you might want to leverage this, but this is not something that is very important from the very beginning. If you're in your second or third year of ABM, definitely you can leverage this out there. There are a lot of other customer data platforms as well that you can look into. Now, coming down to interaction stack. This is something that has been there in your organization from a really long time already. I'm pretty sure you've been leveraging advertising, LinkedIn advertising, if nothing else. And also for web and content, you must have been using something or the other. Now, this is a stack that entirely depends on your marketing mix and your ABM approach. Are you trying to personalize it to an individual level, or are you targeting masses and you just want personalization to a specific persona or a specific segment? That is entirely dependent on you. Now, in terms of ABM advertising, there is a myth out there that account based marketing is equal to ABM advertising. However, that's not true. Advertising is only a part of what ABM is. In terms of advertising, you can use a lot of tools out there. Rollworks is something that is free of cost for a basic platform. And if you are operating in US, then they have a specialized ABM centric platform as well. But yeah, Rollworks is a good place to start when you want to leverage programmatic advertising. Also, demand-based Triblio Terminus, they are, and also Sixth Sense, they are leveraging ABM advertising to a really great extent. They have amazing capabilities when it comes to that. Moving on to web and content. Now, web personalization is something that takes a lot of time. You really need bandwidth from multiple people to personalize web pages for your companies or for your individuals. So this is something that you might want to consider when you've already tested ABM out and you've already run it for some duration. Or you can do this for a handful of accounts, not necessarily all of them, depending on the ticket size. And for this, Triblio has an amazing technology that they provide. Also, in terms of content personalization, now demand-based, Path Factory, Uberflip, and EDO, also Optimizely and Vidyard, they are providing some amazing capabilities out there. So recently we had a call with Uberflip, and I was totally amazed to see the kind of capabilities that Uberflip can provide. And honestly, when it comes to content, Uberflip and Path Factory, in fact, are really helpful for you to. They can be a really good fit for you in your ABM as well as inbound strategy. If they help you with dynamic personalization, and that is something that you might want to look at going forward. In terms of direct mail, now direct mail is something that has helped us out a lot. There was a client that we were working with, and we leveraged online platforms and channels out there for a particular industry, but that was not working out with us. So we were pretty agile with our targeting, and we switched to a direct mail approach, and that worked wonders. And in fact, we did not even use any technology at that point of time. We just executed with our internal teams, and that was it. We were able to do that easily. However, if you're trying to leverage direct mail for thousands of people, that is when you might want to look at some technologies. Sendoso is amazing over there. Postalytics and Alice, these both kind of work specifically for US. Now, I want to especially mention Alice because that kind of amazed me when I got to know about it. Alice is leveraging AI to help you decide on what kind of gifts or what kind of personalized items can you send to a particular person based on their web interactions. Now, I know this might sound really expensive. However, this can be really useful when you're trying to target CXOs for a big ticket technology or service out there. This can be really helpful with that. In terms of content syndication, I'm pretty sure you've been leveraging syndication for a really long time. Madison Logic and TechTarget integrate, they provide a lot of services with that respect. Now, events, I'm pretty sure you can run events without any technology as well. But if you are running multiple events, so there we do have a client who in India in particular, they target a lot of events. So leveraging a technology for that can be helpful. But then if you're just running, say, a small event a month, then you don't really need technology for that. Of course, bots are a huge thing. You can consider bots. It is entirely dependent on your marketing mix that you want to leverage. Going forward, the orchestration stack. Now, you have already seen that how complicated ABM workflows can be. Engagio and MRP, they help you automate those workflows when it comes to ABM. There are multiple stakeholders involved within your organization who might want to step in at different stages of your entire campaign for different channels that you're leveraging. Say initially it starts with marketing, but then your sales development team might want to step in. Your sales team might have to step in at some point. So this is something that can be automated with a tool like this. However, it is not necessary for every organization to have that. It is important that you define what kind of ABM program that you're trying to run before going forward with anything like this. And also sending emails from sales reps or executives accounts or in their names can be really helpful. Uh, Account planning is something that we've all been doing when it comes to sales, but taking that a step further, leveraging that for ABM can be really helpful out there. You can draw account plans without any technology as well. We've done that a lot. Mm, yeah, well, that's majorly it. Now, the measurement stack. This is like the must-have for your entire ABM approach out there. If you're working on account-based marketing, if you've been doing that for quite a long time or have done it already, you might have realized that the same metrics do not apply over here. What you also have to look at is a lot of quality of engagement before taking this to your business. Not everything is about CPAs and CPIs. It is about who is engaging with your content, how many times are they doing that, where are they doing it, what kind of topics are they reading. So, to measure all of those things, you definitely need technology. And this measurement has to happen beyond your website. Of course, web interactions are really important, but then what exactly is happening out there? How your accounts are engaging with you across multiple channels, your webinars, your direct mails, your events, your emails as well. So, how do you build it all up together? Account scoring is one thing that we really believe in. And for account scoring, you need a technology. Your marketing automation might not be able to provide that at large. for accounts, I'm pretty sure marketing automation platforms provide lead scoring, but not account scoring. So it is important to look at it from an account perspective, and Engagio, demand-based Triblio are doing that. However, it will be worthwhile to mention that Marketo and Salesforce Pardot, as well as Acton, are doing something on an account level, but you might want to consider what exactly do you want in terms of capabilities before you jump onto those. Also, multi-touch attribution, Visible is something that has been into this for a really long time now, and they are able to help you attribute whatever ROI you're generating to the particular channel that has worked out for you. For larger organizations, that can be really helpful, which are spread across multiple regions and leveraging various channels to reach out to people. But again, depends on your industry and organizational fit. Last but not the least is something that not a lot of organizations, not a lot of platforms focus on. It is important to have your stack integrated through and through. Having data flow through your account data and customer data platforms through to your marketing automation and CRM, as well as to any ABM tech stack, any other ABM tech stack, it is really, really important because that will help you measure up against all the KPIs that you had marked up initially. Also, in terms of integration, not every integration comes out of the box. Not every other ABM tech platform might be able to integrate with your existing technologies out there. So what you do in this situation is leverage something like Zapier or Integromat. Zapier helps you integrate with so many technologies out there that you might 1500 was the last that I had read on their website. Maybe it has increased now. I'm not really sure, but yeah, this is something that you can definitely look into for integrations across multiple platforms. Now, I'll just take a quick break over here, a very small pause, just to hydrate. So, is an ABM platform necessary for you, or can you do without it? I'm pretty sure you all must be able to relate with the marketing automation platform, how it clubs in together all your emails and your website, and you've got forms out there, you've got other engagement. It brings them all together and connects to your data and also integrates with your CRM to automate that entire process. The same way an ABM platform works by connecting all your various channels out there, your ads, direct mails, emails, web, events, etc. And it helps to send information and data to and fro. You can orchestrate using an ABM platform very easily. You can automate that entire thing, and you can also measure everything very, very easily with an ABM platform. Also, there's this account foundation to it. You might be using a separate tool for account data or intent data, or your ABM platform might have all of these things inbuilt. So you might not need multiple technologies out there just to ensure that you have everything in place that you need. So this is something that is an organizational decision after all. But when it comes to the ease of it and the automation of it, we would definitely recommend having an ABM platform in place because that will help you in the longer run. You don't need to have it from day one. You can run your pilots, you can even start expanding without it. However, going into the second year, definitely it is a must have. Now, talking about the account-based technology, how companies view it, is it really important for you to have it, or is it something that you can skip? Topo did this account-based technology report back in 2018, and based on that, like when comparing different account-based technologies, respondents, the survey that they did, they find that most important are the ones they can use underscores. I'm sorry. The most important ones are for which account-based technology solutions, the organizations that have adopted are account data and measurement and attribution. Also, if you just look at contact data, lead matching, and intent data, it's something almost equally important. However, it is not necessary, 71% of people think that account-based orchestration is important. And if we go even further, account-based advertising is only something that 58% believe is important. It's not necessary to have all these technologies when you're orchestrating your entire ABM program. However, it is important to have something that can help you, start off with your account data and has the measuring capabilities. Account-based advertising can still be skipped. You can leverage something as simple as Google and LinkedIn, and they are amazing when it comes to B2B advertising. So it is entirely up to you. The importance of measurement and account data will be the key drivers. But yeah, for everything else, you can entirely skip or use it as your ABM approach demands. Now, we know for sure that ABM technology can be expensive, but how do you run ABM on a dime? So, there was a client for which we orchestrated this entire tech stack. This is like just three or four things out there. In terms of contact data, they already had a technology that they had been using for marketing from a really long time. Discover.org was the one. And in terms of CRM, they had HubSpot, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken, Salesforce in place. So to fit everything else in between, we used Lead Feeder for first party intent. And then Act On was something that was able to help us automate their marketing at large. Also, Acton has basic capabilities when it comes to account-based measurement of various channels. Also, in addition to that, Acton provides you the measurement of various channels out there. You might be running webinars, you might be running something offline, and it can take into consideration all of those things and take that data to give you an account level view. As I had mentioned earlier, Rollworks is something that is free of cost, and we started using Rollworks along with LinkedIn and Google advertising for reaching out to a larger audience. And LinkedIn Sales Navigator was something that they had already been using. So, in terms of content personalization, we use Point Drive wherever it was needed, and Sales Navigator to run our personal outreach as well. In-mails were really helpful. Sponsored in-mails were also very helpful in that case. So, all in all, we did not spend a lot on technology, but then used the existing technology and some new pieces out there to ensure that we're not spending a lot on technology, but the results were amazing. So you might be thinking at this stage at how can you start with your ABM program or even with the technology? The best way to do that is to start lean with pilots and then expand and scale. Set up a very lean program with one sales rep and a few accounts and target them with a few channels that you think will work out. Once you see results happening with that, bring on more people from your sales team and target multiple segments out there. Bring some basic technology as well. If it works out, scale with technology, scale with the entire leadership on board and comprehensive account targeting. Your full ABM rollout across sales and marketing can happen at a later stage. It doesn't need to start on day one. Coming towards an end with all of this, uh, what would be the key takeaways for you this evening? I'd say choose a technology that is based on your business needs and not necessarily on what's fancy out there. Must have tech for ABM is account and contact level data, lead to account matching and routing. Also, having a single source of analytics and measurement for all activities that you're doing is really important. Now, ABM does not necessarily mean advertising. This is something that we cannot stress on. Ads are only a part of ABM, and you don't necessarily need to spend on an entirely new technology for advertising. As you saw, we used LinkedIn, Google, and Rollworks, which were all free of course, except for the media spend. So yeah, this is something that can be really helpful. Now, new age platforms can help you bridge operational inefficiencies. However, not a lot of old platforms are able to do that. So look at newer technologies. Look at what's out there in the marketing landscape, marketing tech landscape right now. How AI and ML is being leveraged by platforms. So that is something that can be really helpful. Also, ABM at large is more than just tech investment. You don't necessarily just need technology to run an ABM program. You can be running it manually as well with a really high performing team, and that be it. So it entirely depends on your ABM approach and your marketing mix that you really want to look into technology for. Now, we come down to questions for the evening. If you have any questions, you can post them to the right-hand side section on your screen. We will be taking up questions right now, and we have a few questions over here. So we'll start off with how can you measure if the ABM strategy is going in the right direction? Also, what checks and balances can be used for that? Now, that's a brilliant question. How can you measure your ABM strategy? At the beginning of your ABM approach, I'm pretty sure you will be demarcating some KPIs and some metrics to measure your ABM. To validate that, as and when you move forward, you look at the impact that your approach is creating in terms of engagement. What kind of responses are you getting? What kind of conversations are you building up? Also, if you're able to achieve even 50% of your KPIs, then you're definitely moving in the right direction. You just need to ensure that everything is aligned together moving forward. The next question is, how important is it to align your sales and marketing teams? I cannot stress this enough. It is a brilliant question, by the way, but it is really important to have sales and marketing alignment when going for an account-based approach to ensure. So you may ask why at this stage. Sales and marketing need to come in together to at various stages of any ABM workflow. Now, you might start with your sales team giving you insights into what kind of accounts are working out for you. Also, you may want their opinions with regards to what exactly is going on in the market out there. They are the ones who have on ground data and on ground insights when it comes to the target personas that you're going after. So, it is really important that sales and marketing work hand in hand for this. And a technology can be really helpful to ease that entire collaboration. How do you identify uh, your key accounts for ABM? That's a great question. How you identify accounts is, I'm sure we've mentioned ideal customer profile a number of times during the entire webinar. Now, what an ideal customer profile is that you set up what kind of, based on an analysis of the kind of accounts that you already have, or if you're just beginning to beginning your marketing efforts, then you sit down with your sales team and jot down a few metrics of the kind of accounts that you want to go after. It could be what it could be the revenue of the company, or it could be the company size, or what industries they are operating in, and what kind of products that they're already using, what kind of technologies they're using, what exactly there could be some trigger level information as well into this, as to if there are some changes happening in their leadership, or if they are being acquired by someone, or they're acquiring some other company. So these are things that can be really important with respect to your ideal customer profile. Build that profile, and then set up filters with a good account data technology to take this forward. Another question that we have is, how do you choose the uh, technology? We have multiple technologies in every bucket out there that we saw. So, which technology should we go forward with? I totally can relate to that. When I saw the buckets at first, I was totally baffled with so many options available. So, talking about how do you choose it? Well, you start by defining your ABM approach and the marketing mix that you will be leveraging. And based on that, you set up some KPIs and some metrics. Once you've done that, you see what all in the entire workflow would you have to automate? Would you have to, uh, do you need technology for different parts of your workflow, or is that something that you can do manually as well? Um, Based on certain filters, based on where exactly do you need technology, and how at what levels do you really want to leverage technology, is something that you filter it out for. Then you look at things like budget. You set out a budget at the beginning of your entire approach. Your Before starting off with your ABM program, you set out a budget for ABM technology, and that also acts as a filter. So, uh, build layers and layers of filters before you sign off on the capabilities, before you sign off on any technology. So that is one way of going about it. And I think this is the last question that we'll be taking up this evening. Why experimentation and personalization are important, and how technology can help with this? That is a beautiful question. Why is experimentation and personalization important? So, I'd say acting lean and agile in terms of your marketing mix can be really helpful. I'm sure if you remember, I had cited this example wherein we were using a lot of digital channels for a particular industry in a market where we found out that not a lot of people are present online after having executed that program. So we quickly changed our approach and went on to leverage something offline, which was direct mail and some roundtable conferences. So that worked out really well for us. And to be able to do that, you need to have an experimental mindset. We've been using experiments in marketing from a really long time, advertising, emails. You use multiple subject lines to ensure that you get the maximum opens, or you use multiple copies in advertising, or multiple visuals to ensure that the right thing is being targeted to the right audience. So why not with ABM? And also personalization is something that is very important for in today's age. There's something, every consumer that you're trying to target is also a consumer who is indulging in things like content consumption from Netflix, from Spotify. The kind of personalization that these guys are providing out there is unmatched. And the consumer that you're trying to target, the end user, they are used to all of this. So why not personalize in B2B marketing as well? And how can technology help? You can definitely personalize and experiment without technology as well. There's not a mandatory situation over here. However, targeting multiple accounts and scaling up higher, technology can be really helpful to personalize and automate this entire thing. So yeah, that brings us to the end of our webinar. I hope you all found some useful information in here. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to us, and we will be definitely sharing this deck towards after via email and the recording of the webinar as well. So you can definitely reach out to us later too. Uh, One thing that I'd like to mention is we will be having more webinars in this ABM series next month, and you can stay tuned if you have any other queries, and if you want us to talk about anything in specific, do let us know. Thank you for your time today, and hope you have a great day.